Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Of course, I'm Stephen McCollum, your humble host from the main event show. Of course, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. You can catch me, Dale Hellerstray, Izzy, and Jeff as we go live at WTSM Studios. For those of you, it's a subscription base, of course. You can get the live or the premium subscription where you can watch us live. Us, Doug Franz, of course, Izzy on Sports, hanging with Coop and Jeff. All the shows out there. Pit Stop is coming back here as well with the start of the NASCAR season. Plus, you'll get all the business and local channels that, as our studios are moving here in the next couple of weeks, we will be getting a lot of that stuff going. For those of you that don't pay for the subscription and listen to me on the radio, didn't follow us to the subscription-based model, that's fine. We also do it Podbean, Spotify, Apple. Catch our free podcast. It is usually up 10:30 ish on Monday through Friday. You can catch us on those programs as well, and catch the program that we're pretty proud of doing. And look, this is a new thing we've done since last weekend. Something we'll continue to do, but of course, overtime, right? Here's what we're calling it for the main event, where we will have guests. Izzy will join us from time to time. Dale will join us from time to time. But today, it's just little old Stephen McCollum, your humble host here. We got playoff football starting 2:30 here today. First game is Texans and Ravens. We're going to get into that, get you updated leading into those games. That game, and then, of course, Packers 49ers today. And, of course, tomorrow we will come live again. Mark your calendars. To be honest with you, it'll be 12 or noon, most likely. The debate is, do we do it at 2, go right into the games, or do we do it a little bit ahead of time? We're kind of playing with that stuff there, but it'll be noon or 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll get, of course, the, up here live, give you the updates leading into the game. Injury situations, I can't tell you this for tomorrow, just to give you a heads up. Kansas City, Tony. Of course, the reason why this game is being played in Buffalo this weekend is because of Tony being lined up off sides on that, of course, gorgeous play from Mahomes to Kelsey. Throws it back to Tony, who goes in to score in Buffalo. Called back on the offsides on Tony's there, obviously in the regular season. Huge uproar on that. And that's why this game is being played in Buffalo. But Tony is ruled out in this rematch against the Bills tomorrow, Sunday. So just to give you that updated information if you're out doing honeydew lists and getting ready for the games today. In terms of the other football news out there, if you missed it, Antonio Pierce was officially hired as the head coach of the Raiders. I reached out to Jim P. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, me and Jim P. communicate a lot on there. Been a long time All Access member and a huge Raiders fan. He was in favor. I reached out to him to see what he thought. He was in favor of the Raiders keeping Antonio Pierce. I am not. With the other names out there, I felt like you could definitely improve that head coaching position. Mark Davis, generally hires big name coaches, as you know, right? John Gruden. Then he went after McDaniels there as well from New England. And, he came in and he, decided to stick with Antonio Pierce. Look, Antonio Pierce is charismatic. Antonio Pierce knows football. Can he provide this team moving forward? I don't think so, but we'll see in time, of course, and see how it goes. And, of course, I obviously do not like Antonio Pierce at all because he's personally responsible for a lot of the sanctions and a lot of the issues Arizona State has gone through here in these last few years since the COVID year, and I despise him for that. But that's a whole nother reason, and we'll see. Can he have success, or is he going to be out of a head coaching job here in 1 or 2 years coming up? There, of course, Falcons are still looking for a head coach. They've interviewed Belichick twice. Harbaugh's getting his second interview coming up as we get ready to, find out who is going to, of course, be head coaches coming in to this season. The other thing is I wanted to bring up, if you haven't been following the news around today, earlier this week, of course, Jerry Jones hired Mike McCarthy. Or said he's staying on as head coach. But news coming out earlier today, today's the 20th, yes. Earlier today was that Mike McCarthy, according to sources, Adam Schefter reported this, is not expected to receive any sort of extension from the Cowboys. He will coach the 2024 season on the expiring contract. So this could be the last year coming up of Mike McCarthy. It will solve the head coaching position if he struggles. Obviously, or if he wins 12 games and goes out in the playoffs again, I would expect them not to bring him back and make an easy deal. But no extension for Mike McCarthy. I don't know why you keep him around if he's just going to be a lame duck head coach, especially, of course, with all the issues that they've had playing in the playoffs coming up, as lately as well. So look, if you're on here and you have anything you want to say about today's game, man, get on that chat. Of course, I don't have the chat line up right now. It's a separate app. It's on my laptop. It's not on this computer yet. But hop on the YouTube chat. Appreciate you joining us. For those of you catching this after it's live, we generally try to do 15 to 30 minutes. Nothing major on this. It's just to talk about things either we missed on the show, things that are happening in the moment. And like I said, we have 2 games today coming up, other than the Antonio Pierce and the Mike McCarthy news about no extension for him. We'll have more on both of those, of course, on Monday coming up as well. So 2:30 p.m. today, Texans, Ravens. Look, the Texans 10-7. We saw what they did last week to that Cleveland Browns defense. They're going up to Baltimore in this game as well. Look, the weather's going to be colder. Last time the Texans played in this type of weather, they were in Cleveland just a few weeks ago in the regular season, and they did not fare well at all. Now, that was when Cleveland's defense was playing fairly good at that time with no issues. And, obviously they fell down here with that rematch last week. But the Texans, going up to this weather, I'm really interested in seeing if the Texans can play in this weather offensively like they are known to do. Their offense is a gorgeous offense. They're in the dome in Texas, but in Houston. But can they do it in the cold? Can that defense play as well as they did last week? And then if you watched the show at all this week, my concern is with the Baltimore Ravens. Week off, the guys have been resting for a couple weeks. How are they going to look, at least at the beginning of this game? The longer that the Texans are in this game, the more chance that I think they have a chance to win it. The Ravens, in my opinion, need to put this not away at halftime, but have at least a dominating first half to kind of put the Texans back on their heels for the second half. Because if that second half comes up, and we're talking a one score, a 3-point ball game, or even Texans winning this game in the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, I do think the Ravens are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Interesting enough, we talked lines with Sweet Lou on Thursday and gambling side. Texans are still 9.5-point dogs. This line has not moved at all. I was looking to see if maybe we can get this line to move either up to 10.5 or down to 9. It's not going anywhere, folks. Over and under is still 43.5. That has fluctuated slightly during the week here coming up for those of you that pay attention to that stuff. Here's what I expect in this game. Now, the weather, is possibly going to snow. Wind is going to be big in this game. Baltimore's running game is going to be fantastic. One thing that I'm interested in seeing, well, first of all, Ravens tight end, of course, Mark Andrews, will not play in this game against the Texans. Now, they do have Likely as a tight end. They have a couple other tight ends that are good. They're not Mark Andrews good, but that'll be all right with Andrews missing this game coming up. But it is a big loss for him. I'm expecting to me the game is going to be won on the defensive side. So that's going to come down to Baltimore keeping C.J. Stroud, right? Nico Collins under wraps for the Texans and keep them from scoring quickly. I mean, if they go on a long drive, that's one thing, but stop the long passes and the quickest and the plays, the quick plays coming for touchdowns. Baltimore can do that; they'll win this game. On the other side, if Texans defense can get turnovers from Lamar Jackson when he does throw this football and keep, 2 pick sixes last week against Cleveland, they keep that going, and you could see Texans in this game late and covering that 9.5 going, of course, coming up for them. So to me, it's the defenses that are going to be the keys in this game, and I just think that Baltimore Ravens defense, even if the Baltimore Ravens, which I do think they might start a little slow, not the whole first quarter, but definitely their first couple drives on offense might be a struggle for them. If they go down the field and score quickly, it's going to be, I think, a long game for the Texans. But I'm looking forward to it, man. We're going to rank the playoff games this weekend like we did last weekend on, what we think is what games we're excited for and which games we are not. Of course, later on today as well, you got Packers, 49ers. Nothing yet in terms of who's definitely out in this game and who's going to play. That'll probably come around halftime of this Ravens-Texans games. But look, 49ers are going to come in fairly healthy. A lot of their guys sat out the last weekend, week 18. A lot of their guys, of course, last week, they all had it off. Brock Purdy, to me, in this game, is going to be the key. I do not think against the Packers. Look, I gave the Packers no chance last week. Is that going to burn me again this week? I just don't think so. They were playing, of course, a team in the Cowboys that monumentally falls down on their faces in the playoffs, and I don't think it's going to happen, again. This line did move to 10 here for the Packers and the 49ers. So Packers are 10-point dogs. And I'll tell you this right now. If you're a gambler and you're looking at this, man, go Packers. 49ers minus 10. They'll cover that 10 today. I think this is going to be an ugly ball game. If you have to miss a game this weekend, this is probably the one to miss coming up. It's just the Niners. Even if they start off sluggish, they have so many offensive weapons. That defense is poised. That defense is going to be as healthy as they've been in weeks coming into this game, and it's just going to shock the youngest team in football, of course, being the Packers today. So those are today's games. Just quick overview. Nothing big, no big news coming out. The weather's exactly like we thought it would be. Maybe a little windy. Obviously, San Francisco cold. 60 degrees at kickoff. Baltimore snow. Colder weather, which I do think hurts the Texans. Their youth, though, could surprise us here. So I do have, of course, Baltimore winning this game, and I have the 49ers winning the game tonight and easily covering that 10 tonight on the Packers. I think this is going to be the Packers 49ers game, going to be the ugliest game of the weekend. Of course, tomorrow we'll get into the Buccaneers Lions. That's a 1 p.m. Kickoff tomorrow. As I said, I said earlier in this thing, we'll go 12-1. Of course, I'm being dumb. It'll be, noon or so for tomorrow's live thing, setting you up for Buccaneers Lions. Maybe 11:30, 11:30 to get all you updated on who's out. As I just said, for tomorrow, we're going to wait to see on that. And then Chiefs Bills, man, coming up tomorrow at 4:30 p.m., of course, Phoenix time as well. Right now, I can tell you the line has moved. Detroit is 6. Now, these are FanDuel numbers. Line has moved to 6 for the Lions as a favorite, down from 6.5. So people are putting the money on the Buccaneers to at least cover that one. And, I have the Buccaneers winning this game in our picks, show picks as well. Then you got Chiefs Bills tomorrow night, game of the weekend. We'll do our formal ranking here in just a minute. Can the Chiefs go to Buffalo? They've beaten Buffalo numerous times in the playoffs at home. They got to go to Buffalo. Look, the weather's not going to be a factor here. Chiefs playing cold, snowy weather. They played in that ultra cold last weekend. Bills snow all over the place. It snows in Kansas City all the time. Weather's not going to be a factor in this game. It's going to come down to talent. Can Buffalo get over on top of the Chiefs? We'll have updates on that tomorrow, of course, as we're going. And there's a lot of talk of this being Andy Reid's last. Ethan and I were hanging out this morning as I'm coming to you from the Fortress. Here. And we were hanging out this morning. I was watching videos of people talking about Andy Reid could possibly be his last year. So whether it's true or not, that rumor at least is out there. And if he's thinking that route, how can this change? But, it's going to be interesting to see. So let's rank the 4 playoff games. If you have your ranking, what's your most favorite game you want to watch? Hit us up on the YouTube chat. Of course, tag at TME Sports Show if you'd like as well. I'll get Twitter up here, or X up here. So we can, I can see any posts that you guys do. What's your rankings going into this weekend? Your favorite games to watch? Of course, you guys know I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. If I would have been smart, I would have brought up my game-worn signed Ray Lewis jersey from downstairs. I would have brought up my Terrell Suggs. If you got the show this week, I told Dale I want a Dale Hellestray game-worn Baltimore jersey from his stash. We'll see if he comes through on that. I doubt it. I told him I'd put it between the two, too. I'd give it the respect it deserves. Texans, Ravens here coming up today. You got Packers, 49ers as well. For me, the worst game of the weekend, Packers and 49ers. I think the line has moved to 10 from that 9.5 that it was on Thursday. I did not check it yesterday, but we know it's moved to the 9.5 now. I think the 49ers, even if they start sluggish from, being off basically their main superstars were off in week 18. The key to me in this game, though, is Brock Purdy. Now, they'll be able to overcome Brock Purdy if he has any mistakes, turnover mistakes, God forbid injuries. I'm not rooting for injuries, but, hey, playoffs last year, right? It's a legit conversation that we can have about Brock Purdy. No fault of his own, but, Brock Purdy gets hurt in this game or, turnovers galore. But I do think the Packers will not have enough to overcome that. If they get a bunch of turnovers, I think the 49ers will win this game. Lots of turnovers or not. And I don't see any scenario where the Packers cover that 10 just with the talent on the Niners. The only way I can really see it, to be honest with you, is in the fourth quarter. 49ers have, let's say, a 20-point lead, and Packers come back a little bit. It's the only way I can see them sneaking and covering that. But Packers, 49ers, my worst game to watch this weekend. Of course, we call it go do other things, go wash your hair, type of a game. I'll have it on because I'm a sicko like that. But, that's how I consider that game as the worst game to be excited about this weekend. Next up for me, this is where it gets tough. These next 3 are all intriguing to me. I'm looking forward to watching all 3 of these. So ranking the next 3 tells you how bad the Packers 49ers is in my mind. It's so far down on this list that it's almost go do anything but watch that game if you're not a football fan. I'm not expecting it to be very good at all. But the next three are just pretty much there, right? I've already said Chiefs Bills. Can the Chiefs win on the road? Can the Bills get over that Chiefs hump in the playoffs? So that's super intriguing. Buccaneers Lions. Can the Lions, after that emotional win last week, team teammates were crying, coaches were crying, fans were crying. The crowd was emotional. All of that happened last week, and they beat the Rams by 1 point. Rams couldn't get in the end zone. They scored 14 points in that second quarter. Otherwise, it was one field goal each corner. Buccaneers are able to score, I think, a little bit more than the Rams are. And the Buccaneers are a better team than the Rams. They played it so close last week with all that emotion. Now you're having an emotional week or a week after an emotional win where you get your first playoff loss. I see a letdown here by the Lions, and I see the Buccaneers taking advantage of that with Baker Mayfield coming up, folks, by the way. There. So I'm going to say Buccaneers Lions for me is we'll say the third game, most game to watch this weekend. And then for me, it's the Texans Ravens are the second game that you want to not miss this week as well in terms of my excitement level. Texans Ravens, which are kicking off here at 2:30, so an hour and 10 minutes away coming up. But Texans and Ravens, to me, I want to see this young Texans team. What can they do? Can they do it in the snow? Can they do it in the cold? I also want to see if the Ravens are for real. They've had some letdowns in the playoffs, right? Lamar's probably going to win a second MVP. Will it be unanimous last time? I don't see why it's not going to be, because who else are you going to give it to? Maybe Christian McCaffrey might get a few votes coming up for him. But for me, Texans Ravens are the second, if I was ranking these playoff games, the second most game that I'm looking forward to this weekend. And it's an even, folks. It's a 1A. It's a 2A, 2B between the Buccaneers and Lions. And if you want to switch those two games, I have zero problem with it. I will not argue with you at all about that, because it's that close in my eyes between those two games. But lots of question marks. And, even though I root for the Ravens, man, to see the Texans move on would be fantastic. I think for for National Football League coming up. A headline just popped up on Major League Baseball. That's why I almost said that. Then, of course, the number one game to watch this weekend is that Chiefs-Bills rivalry. I heard a lot of people this week say that it's a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type battle. I've been to those Tom Brady, Peyton Manning battles in Indianapolis. I had Indianapolis Colts season tickets. Friends that live back there would travel back there when those battles were going on. And I saw those games where Patriots are going to Indianapolis and the Colts are being undefeated. Patriots have lost one game, maybe undefeated. And I watched those two battle it out. And it was special. And, I saw a lot of people saying that. I don't know if it's to that level. Because those two quarterbacks obviously are all-time greats. Although Mahomes and Josh Allen are greats, I don't know if they're up to their level yet. But this is going to be exciting. Of course, Chiefs, can they win outdoors? We talked about that. Bills, can they keep it going? They've been in playoff mode since like week 15, week 14. Can they keep it going with that momentum at home? This is going to be a fantastic game. So for me, ranking the playoff games, 1, Chiefs-Bills tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Then I have Texans-Ravens as the second most game that I'm looking forward to this weekend. And like I said, it's almost virtually a tie between them and the Buccaneers and Lions. Buccaneers and Lions are my third. Like I said, pretty much 2B. It's literally that close. And then way down the list is tonight's 6:15 p.m. kickoff, Packers and 49ers tonight. That I'm going to have it on. I'm going to be watching it. I'm not going to be excited about it at all going into this game. So tomorrow, of course, we'll come back. 1 p.m. kickoff tomorrow for Buccaneers Lions. So look for us 11:30 noon. Of course, we'll post it out a couple hours before. We'll get the link up like we did today as well for those of you joining us. Hop on the chat. Any questions or you want to rub it in? Like last week, a couple people checked in, which I found hilarious as well. And feel free to do this as well. couple of people hopped in and was rubbing it in on that Steelers Bills score, which I said in that when I said in that thing. And the second I started showing you guys videos of that stadium, I was like, oh, this game is in trouble. I knew I was in trouble with that Steelers pick. And it was amazing to deal with. It kind of sucked. Hey, sometimes you're wrong, but I'll have the show picks up here formally here in just a little bit as well. But I just want to hop on, do a little overtime for you guys, get you updated on the news. Don't forget, Sweet Lou, UFC 297 tonight. For those of you that are into that, I will not be buying that pay per view tonight because I'm against pay per views, to be honest with you. I'll do the ESPN Plus watching it. I've just always been against pay-per-views. I feel like it's a money grab. But don't forget UFC 297 tonight. Lou's really sold on those matchups. And if you've been watching Twitter and following that, man, Strickland, who's in the main event, the main event. There's a co-main event with the ladies we talked about with Lou on Thursday. But the main event, Strickland, man, he is just ripping the Canadian. Of course, it's in Toronto. He is just ripping the Canadian media, talking about freedom and press stuff. It takes it a little bit over the top, but man, this could be intriguing because he's running his mouth a lot tonight for that Strickland main event there in the UFC coming up later on. Let me just refresh this really quick here as we're about 26 minutes in. No extension from Mike McCarthy. We talked about that at the beginning. Of course, Raiders make Antonio Pierce their head coach. Talked about that there at the beginning. Again, injury update. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews will not be playing today against the Texans. I don't think. I mean, it's a loss. Don't get me wrong. And then Mike checks in and says, he goes, "Hello, Steven. It's 28 degrees with a wind chill of 15. Well, where you at? Where you at right now? Because I know you spend a lot of time, in a lot of different places there. So tell me where you're at there. Are you in, or are you just giving me the weather forecast there for the Ravens or whatnot there? But yeah, it's, I think the Texans are going to be in a world of hurt today. And I do think the Ravens, 9.5 is a big number. I do think the Ravens will take the air out of the ball and win this game and cover it. But I just want to see what the Texans can do. So, he says, he goes, Boomer Sooner, Mark Andrews. He goes, I'm in Oklahoma. Okay, I thought you might be in Oklahoma, but I didn't know if you were traveling for something here. So, Mike, of course, spends a lot of time in Oklahoma there. And we hit 70 today. So, have fun in Oklahoma there, man. Hey, rub it in a little bit. To the people in cold weather stuff there, of course, Oklahoma. So like I said, guys, if you don't catch the show live, if you don't subscribe to WTSM TV, that's okay. We appreciate those of you that do, as he's booing me now. But catch us, of course, Spotify, Apple, Podbean. It's all up on there, and just search for the main event with Stephen McCollum. It'll pop up. We get those show posted about 10:30 every day. I do it right after the show ends. It's the first thing I do, unless I have a meeting or something. First thing I do is get that up for those of you not subscribed to WTSM TV. So Mark Andrews, of course, went to Oklahoma. But then also not playing against the Texans. I just want to know the thing that's mostly on my mind that it's kind of quiet right now. If we go on to go into something else here, but what's the Falcons doing, man? Belichick 2 interviews now. Jim Harbaugh 2 interviews now. It's something to be watching here coming up as the Coyotes, for those of you, 1 p.m. face-off for them, are up 1-0 against Nashville right now. Clayton Keller gets a goal there with Gunther getting an assist. So Coyotes update for those of you with Nashville. 1 p.m. face-off there down in Tempe. I was trying to convince the kids to go to that, as Ethan's over my shoulder. I was trying to convince the kids to go to that today, but 1 p.m. and then football, they decided to stay home there. The other thing is Lions, for tomorrow's game, I gave you the point spread. It has moved down to 6 from 6.5. So money is going on Buccaneers. I do think the Buccaneers are going to win that game straight up. But Lions are the largest playoff favorite in franchise history. That's the headline, folks. That is the headline right now. But isn't that when you've only made the playoffs like 2 or 3 times? Isn't that an easy thing to do? Just a little shot at Detroit there for everybody there. So today's game, man, 2:30 kickoff here for Texans Ravens. I got the Ravens winning this game. I believe it's going to be easy for them. I'm just worried about Texas's offense. I do think they're in trouble with the weather there. I'm trying to actually let me do a quick Google search here. This is an informal setting here. Um, Ravens versus Texans weather. Let's see if we can get something here with a quick update. If it is in fact snowing or temperature 25 degrees. Okay, during the game it's changed. The snow has changed to less than 10% chance of participation during the game, but 15 to 18 mile per hour winds. Westerly winds here with gusts up to 25, 30 miles per hour is the latest temperature, or is the latest weather that I see here for the Texans. And if the Texans aren't able to throw the ball down the field, that's going to severely hamper that offense as well. Mike says, I'm with you on Tampa Bay. Not many of us are thinking that way. I know I'm shocked by that, actually. I was on Tampa Bay last week. I was on Houston last week as well. Of course, he says Boomer Sooner, Baker Mayfield. I'm shocked more people aren't on that Tampa Bay bandwagon, but I also firmly believe that Lions hype. I just don't know if you can sustain that Lions energy 2 weeks in a row. That's what I'm actually worried about with this game, man, because when players are crying, coaches are crying, fans lost their mind, and you only won by one against the Rams. And I think the Rams are the ones that lost that by not being able to get a touchdown. Look, you got to give the Lions credit for not keeping them out of the end zone. But at the same time, I don't know. This Lions story might end badly tomorrow. At least I'm thinking that way as well. So we'll see here, man. 2:30 kickoff. Mike's on board with me on Tampa Bay. Hey, Mike, who do you got here for the Ravens and the 49ers game tonight? As I said earlier, I got Ravens winning this game. I think they'll win it big, but it wouldn't shock me if Houston keeps it a little close for a while. And then 49ers tonight, man, they're covering that 10. I would take 49ers plus 10. Not even think twice about it. I think the Packers are just going to be overmatched tonight with that with the young team there. I don't see the 49ers with all that talent on offense and a healthy defense struggling. And we'll get who's officially out for the Niners, but I don't see anything. Also, the other thing on this Ravens game, I want to see what Dalvin Cook does today, right? He's just got signed to the practice squad by Baltimore. Just another running back for this Baltimore Ravens team in cold weather. Take the ball out of the hands there. He says Ravens and 49ers also, so no surprise there as well. Dalvin Cook, just an extra running back. I don't expect him to get huge carries, but he could help take the air out of the ball here and just run that football, especially if the Ravens get up. Touchdown or two here with the weather that they're going to be experiencing. I think it's going to be good. And he also says, Mike says, I think Green Bay will keep it closer than we think. Really? I don't see it. Oh, maybe you're right. I just don't see it. They're playing with house money, obviously. They're the Packers are, but I think talent-wise, they're just going to get what's closer than you think? Because I think the 49ers are going to cover the 10. So to me, 20 is close. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think the Niners are going to win 45-7 or something like that. Maybe a 35-21 type of a game. Maybe we might be seeing from Green Bay. Maybe a 35-17 type of a ball game. But Mike says that 49ers will not cover. And, of course, Ernest checks in and says they will be close first half. I am worried about Baltimore and 49ers, guys, starting slow in these games. I think it's a bigger threat, as I said earlier on this, if you're just tuning in. I said the longer that the Texans are in this Ravens ball game is worrisome. If we're going into the end of the third quarter and the Texans are 7 points down and they're still in this ball game, I think Baltimore is something to watch in that fourth quarter. And I think Baltimore might be in trouble. Niners, even if they start slow in that first half, that talent on that defense, as well as that talent on the offense is just going to be too much for the Packers in that second half. So if it is close in the first half, I expect the 49ers to blow it open in that second half. But I do think maybe first quarter it's close, and then the Niners kind of wake up and move on. So look, we all have different opinions. This is going to be fun to watch here coming up today for this 2:30 kickoff. So we're an hour away. Been on for about 35 minutes. Like I said, 30 minutes with the intro. Did and then Ethan checks in and says he thinks the 49ers will be hard for Green Bay. So he's on my page there. Of course, I paid him to say that as well. I'll give you your money later. he's sitting behind me playing Call of Duty there, but I think I agree with him on that. But so we have difference of opinions here, which makes this fun. Hey, look, we'll be back tomorrow. Game kicks off at 1 tomorrow. Probably 11:30 noon tomorrow. We'll go live, preview the games. Of course, look back at the games today as well. So those of you, if you guys got any feedback on how to make this better, we're toying with a lot of stuff. Obviously, with these football games, we're going live beforehand. And if anything big happens during the game, I'll throw it up and we'll go live after the games as well. Anything controversial, and we'll have a talk. So, anything controversial, if they're just standard games and blowouts like last weekend, kind of just let it settle on the side as we keep going in this. I posted the link, so I appreciate you guys joining us. If you saw the link, follow at TME Sports Show, of course, and we'll keep this rolling and grow this over time as we keep moving forward there. I did see if Izzy could join us today, and he had other commitments. So we'll get Izzy on here for some of these overtimes after Suns games or previewing Suns games. It's going to be fun to grow this online portion and everybody joining us as well. So I appreciate you guys joining us live. Appreciate everybody joining us. Second hand, of course, don't forget, main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum. Monday through Friday, 8 to 10. Tomorrow morning, 11:30 or noon. I'll post it up probably before 9:30, 10 o'clock tomorrow, giving you guys what time will come on. Preview the game, give you weather updates, injury updates, as we're still waiting to hear, of course, on who's going to be out of this Niners game here in a little bit. We probably won't hear until around end of the second quarter, halftime, if anybody is going to be out for Green Bay or for the 49ers tonight. I'm not expecting any big names to be out of this game at all. But again, it's my least favorite game is this second one tonight. So appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate it, Ernest, as well, for you guys joining us here. So tomorrow to 11:30, everybody enjoy the football games tonight. Coyotes games going on right now. ASU's playing right now at noon. I do not have an update on that. My bad. But over there in Tempe, both of them, same parking lots. 12 o'clock and a 1 o'clock game kickoff. I don't get that. We'll be back tomorrow for more main event overtime. Appreciate everybody joining us or catching it later. See y'all tomorrow. Enjoy the football.